So today we are at room 5 of Kevin Street. That's our standard undergraduate machine lab, and I would like to show you around what we had from just moving the camera. And these are a few test bed setups, so you will have something similar in Grange-Korman as well. So here we have the modular version of machines that we can change, and we can replace it with induction motor, synchronous motor, or DC motor, or machine in general. So it can be operated as a generator or motor depending upon how we want to use this. And then here there are some power panels, as you see here, and then there is a main power pack supply. So this is a very interesting setup. You see that from this power pack you can have different kinds of supply. So today I will show you the induction motor experiment. So I would require variable AC supply. So this 0 to 230 volts AC maximum 10 amps, and if I vary this regulator, so I can go up to 100% voltage, that is up to 230 volts. And these 3 lines color coded, that is going to this variable AC supply. The next one, if I had used, it would have been a variable or fixed AC supply, so directly either 230 volt or 133 volt 230 volts line or 130 volts phase I would have got, and then the supply would come here. Now through this panel, wherever later you will see that there is a fixed AC or a fixed variable AC supply. So there's also in this side also, you can see them. You can instead of getting a long wire, you can take the supply from there. So they are all interconnected. Now in between, like typically motors require a load, or generator also require a load to supply the electricity. So typically these setups are motor generator set, and sometimes or most of the times they are coupled together. So through this shaft, this load and the generator are connected for our purpose of the machine test. So today we have decoupled, and I will tell you the reason soon. And then there is from in between the coupling, there is one sensor connected from where you can get to measure the torque, speed, and some temperature rise. So there is some screen there on the top with a software connection. So you can get to see all those and take all those measurements. And we have a separate tachometer also that we can have connections. Now to measure the voltmeter, ammeter, and the wattmeter, instead of connecting 3 instruments, we have a very nice instrument here that can do all these 3 measurements together. So the volt will measure the voltage, the current, and then watt will give you the wattage requirement. And then even with the display you can have VAR and VA and power factor requirement. That would be handy for our purpose of the induction motor testing. And because we have made a 3-phase connection, so internally there are some connections that will give us the right measurements for 3-phase. So this T3FE is a must button to do that. Okay. So now, so as we are going to connect the induction motor, so you see that the first thing I would be interested to check the nameplate rating. So is it coming clear now? Yeah, I think it's good enough. So typically the things that I am going to check is the voltage, frequency of supply, the full load rated speed, the rated power and the rated current, and corresponding to the full load rated power they have also given an estimate of the power factor, input power factor. So that's the thing. Now if you look at these connections, see that this is written as 230D. That means if you connect to in a delta configuration, that I will show you in the top side, that what does it mean. So you can apply up to 230 volts, and then full load speed in all the cases are in the range of 1437, and the power of the motor is 1.1 kilowatt, and the full load current from the input side is 4.27 amps. So this will be very important for us to remember when we are going to do the locked rotor test. So if you make it a star connection, then you can operate in two voltages, 400 and 450, and then correspondingly the speed and the power doesn't change, but because it's a 400 volt star connection, the line currents change now, they become much less, so that the power is not exceeded and the power factor information there. Now for each motor there are some cooling requirement and all these things. So this IP55 and other stuff will tell you. So, and the manufacturer is ABB in this particular case. So this is a squirrel cage motor, as I have shown you in the picture before, that inside there is no open winding, so that's a cage inside, and then covered with the covered with end plate. I am just trying to see that if we can show you something of those bars. Oh, there it is. Oh, where is that? Oh, this is the one. So there are few different windings and are there in the old Machine Lab demo, but okay, maybe I won't be getting distracted too much. So we will just go back to the experiment that we are supposed to do. So our first test experiment is a no load test. Oh, and I have to show you the connection that I have made, the connection for the delta. So if you look at this, there are three phase windings. So U1, U2, V1, V2 and W1, W2 are the three separate windings. So if I have to connect them in a triangular form delta, what I have, oh sorry, at present this is connected in star connection. So maybe it would be nice to change the connection from star to delta. You see that initially the three phase connections have come here, U1, V1, W1, and the other side is all connected in star. So if I have to change the connection, what I have to do is that I have to make some kind of zigzag connection. So U1 should connect to V2, then V1 should connect to W2, and then W1 and W1 should connect to U2. So they are all interconnected now. So now I will place back the supply. So this time I can connect the lines back. and from the fixed line, so this is the wattmeter, the two line voltages have come here to the voltage coil, and then one coil has been connected in series to get the ammeter information. Okay. Okay. So now what I am going to do, I am just going to turn on the enable the power option, and I am just putting the gradually increasing the voltage, so that some voltage has started to come in, and you can see that the motor just started to rotate. So quickly initially I will pass it through, so it should come to 230 volts full voltage that I need to apply. So 230 volt D, so I'll just do little less. Yeah, I think you'd be happy with this. Yeah, okay. So I have another tachometer with me, so just to show you that so 1498, 1499 is the speed because it's no load. Now pay attention to the current and the power. So current is the voltage is rated voltage 230 volts D, and I have got 230 volts here. The current is 2.7 ish and 2.7, and the full load current is 4.27, so the current should be much small in no load condition, and the voltage the watt is 113 watt. Okay, so if you want to see the power factor further, the power factor should be very low because only the magnetizing current is coming, so it's coming as 0.1, and the rest will always match. So now remember these things, because I am going to shut down the power supply or bring the motor back to zero. This time I am going to lock the motor with the brake, and we will see what happens to the to the voltage and the current and the power. Okay, so I am just putting back. So this is Finbar. So now he is doing the arrangements to put a brake to the machine so that the motor is unable to move. So that's the requirement for the locked rotor test. You know, in the simulation where you gave omega equal to 0, that means the motor cannot move. And this time we have to be really careful about the rated current. So now you will see that I have to go up to 4.27 amps. So I will go slowly so that you can see that with how little voltage this will reach 4.27. It's creating a short, so motor will try to drag more and more power, and the current will start to go. So you see that I am 2.51 amps. The voltage is really small, 31, 32. So I have to go up to 4.27. So there it is. So you see that with 41.4 volts, I have got 4.27 amps, and power is 166.1. And I'll go to the power factor. See, this time it's 0.54. So much more. So going back to this, so from these two information, I have to calculate the equivalent circuit of the motor, and then we can do a clubbed thing together to see that if we are to load the motor, then how the speed is going to vary, and this time we can connect back the to the coupling, and we can load the motor through another DC generator, and if the generator tries to draw more and more power, so that will be loading the motor and it will take more current out of the motor. Okay. So now our purpose is to do the load test. So what we have done is we have coupled the motor, and in the shaft we have coupled it with a DC generator. So I will show you the nameplate of the DC machine that is being worked as a generator in a minute. So it is a 2.2 kilowatt generator. So for DC, those who have done the second year machine course, so you know it will have armature and the field supply. So the field of the DC generator should come from the variable field supply 0 to 220 volt, and you know in the test setup there is one regulator where you can just regulate the voltage and you can get to see the current. So it's important to see the nameplate rating maybe now. So you can see if it operates as a generator, it should be 2.2 kilowatt, and if it's rotated at 1500 rpm, then for motor it can give you 2 kilowatt, 1400 rpm, and then the rotor or the field, that is the rotor armature is 220 volt, 12 amp is the maximum, and excitation is the field current. So that is, you should take it from this variable DC field supply, which is this one, and should go to this field windings through an ammeter, which I have connected here in this side, and the value should be fixed at 0.8 amps. That when we do the experiment, you will see that how we have kept this fixed at 0.8. Now from the armature, because it's a generator, it's going to generate electricity, so we can measure the voltage and the current. So voltmeter, ammeter is there. Then we have the option to connect for the load, the variable resistance load, which is this box here. So here there is a one regulator where if you rotate in this anti-clockwise direction, so it will draw more and more current. That will mean the resistance of this pack will start to go down with your rotation, and it will start to draw more current, that you can see it here. And the effect you will see in the blue wattmeter that I have just shown you before, that the more and more you load the DC generator, it will try to take more current from the motor, and the motor current should go up. So that would be the purpose of the experiment. So now initially we will start the motor, then we will excite the generator field, then we will start to load the generator with resistive load and see what happens. And also we have a screen here, so we will see what happens to the speed, what happens to the torque, and so on and so forth. Okay, ready to go? Pause. So we are going to start. So as usual, from the 0 voltage we are going to supply volts. So you can see that the voltage is increasing, and you can see that the motor has started to move. And the voltage has to go up to 230 volts. And now you can see in the top screen, maybe you are unable to see this, so I am getting it closer. So speed is 1496 and a very low torque, because no load torque is 0.48 Newton meter. So these are the things that we will monitor for the later. So now what I am going to do, make it straight, the picture. So with the rated voltage supply, now I am just going to adjust the field, and this is the meter where I have to go up to 0.8, and then you can see that the voltage is being built up here as well. So now you see that the current is in the from the induction motor is 2.78 amps, and the DC no load voltage is to about 210. So now if I turn on this, so that will turn on the load connection to that, and you will see a change in the motor current. So initially so there was some kind of loose connection, and now I've got the connection of the DC motor generator current is about 1 amps. So you see that the current has increased to 2.9. So what we will do gradually, we will just increase the load up to 4.2. So now it is 2.9, and this DC motor current has come to 1.5. So now the current has increased to 3, and as you load, the motor generator voltage also falls down a little bit. Good, stop. So that is about 4 amps. So you can go a little, it has to go 4.27. Yeah, okay. So now we have reached the full load current, that is 4.27 amps. Now you look at the, so we will watch all the power measurement thing. So now it is 227.4, so maybe we can adjust the voltage a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's good. So the current is little more, so I have to reduce this. Yeah, so this is good. So this is a full load motor specification with 230 volt 4.27 amps. So this is the input power, that is 1262 or 1261 watt. And if I look at the power factor, now the power factor is 0.74 PF cos phi. So if I compare this with the nameplate rating, so see how does it match. So the output power is 1.1 kilowatt and the input power is 1260. So in between whatever is there, this is lost in between. And the output speed, rated speed is 1437, and we are getting here about 1450, and the torque, full load torque is 7.14. So you can multiply torque by omega to see that if it is matching the output power requirement or not. And then this is the field current, that is fixed at 0.8 amps. It's connected to the one range. And the load, from the load side, the motor is, the generator is delivering about 4.6 amps of current at about 190 volts. Okay. So now if you look at the screen very closely, there are two markers. One is the orange marker, another is the blue marker. Blue marker is the pointer which will give you the current torque information, and the orange marker is maximum how much did you get. So it was about 8.5 or so. Okay, so I hope you got a good overview of the running of the induction motor, and then based on whatever simulation we did, so we should be able to make a meaning of the practical and the simulation and the theory that we had been doing. Okay. One last thing, but very important thing, is that I haven't shown you the emergency push button. That's the red button here, and couple of other places also you will see that it's there. So if during the experiment you find something very unusual thing happening or somebody is in trouble, without thinking anything, you should just hit this button and you heard a bang. So that will turn off the main power supply, and after that, after fixing or debugging whatever is the problem, then you can start the power supply again. So safety first, remember.